It really seems like you walked into a situation where you've got some amazing inventors. They've been at it, I think, since 2017. They've really been powering at those first two versions for a while. What was broken when you got there, and what did you decide that kind of had to change?
Well, all young founders make all the same mistakes. So when I came in, I had to correct some of those mistakes. Spend too much money, hire too many people, try to do too many things. And so what I came in and did is brought a lot of discipline into that decision making, reduced our, spending, reduced the headcount to the place where it should be, reduced the product portfolio to really just focus on Flippy. And then as we get better and better at Flippy, we can earn the right to do other things, but we wanted to focus on this giant revenue opportunity, which is Flippy. It's also a giant need because if you think about it, restaurants had a lot of publicity during the pandemic about how hard it was to hire people. And that was kind of new for the first time ever. Traditionally, you just staff these jobs with teenagers.
Yep.
During the pandemic, everybody thought that that was temporary. And in reality, it just accelerated something that was already happening. And if you pull back a little bit, you can understand why. Because, every year for the last 20 years, birth rates have gone down and down and down. We have a very aging population, and there's fewer teenagers to take these jobs. And the ones that you can hire, they either don't want these pretty ugly jobs or they bail out. And so it's the time to come in and modernize. And if you think about the modernization that's happened in restaurants in our lifetime, it's all focused on the customer. And you even mentioned one earlier, right? Delivery, DoorDash, last mile delivery with the little robots like Serve and Coco. Well, and then you can also look at OpenTable and online reservations. The former president and CTO of OpenTable sits on our board. He talks about that moment a lot, but that was 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so all of that has been focused on the customer. In terms of the operations, it's largely operated the same way for 50 or 60 years. I mean, what was the last big innovation you can think of in a kitchen or a restaurant operations? Like maybe the microwave oven?
And maybe, so, yeah. There's not a whole lot going on.
There's not a whole lot. And so I think what you've got now is an industry that has struggled over the last 5 years with labor shortages, really high labor costs. So, the state of California is at $20 an hour in restaurants. Los Angeles, New York, they're thinking about going to 30. Like, it's pretty disruptive. And a lot of that has caused a lot of turmoil in the restaurant industry. There's been more restaurant bankruptcies in the last 12 months than there were in the prior 5 years combined. So this is like a real fight for survival, and most of that is driven by labor. So what happens is restaurants now are suddenly like, well, we have operated the same way for 50 years, but we need to future-proof this business. We now know it, and they're suddenly open for the first time ever to making relationships with companies like ours because they're looking for technology solutions. And what they really want is one-stop shopping. And that's why a platform works as opposed to just a product here or a product there, because they're not really in a place where they can kind of evaluate 20 software vendors and go, oh, I want that one and that one. They just want somebody they trust to come in and be their partner and provide technology solutions that help them make more money and help them make more profits, right? So revenue and profits, those are kind of the things that really people are asking us for. Because if you think about the restaurant business, if you're really killing it, if you're doing great, it's a high single-digit margin business. Maybe you get up to 12 or 13%, right? But that's in the extreme. So if you think about the things that have happened over the last 5 years, labor costs, labor shortages, rising food costs, inflation, even immigration enforcement, because a big chunk of people that work in these kitchens are undocumented, tariffs, whatever your thing is, right? You're starting to chip away at an already thin profit margin in restaurants, and you can only operate on zero margin for so long, even negative margin, right? So what we do is we come in and we say, hey, we're going to help you build that back up, because Flippy will drive a 3x ROI. In other words, for every dollar you pay us, you're going to make $3 in return, and all of that drops straight to the bottom line. So now you're starting to kind of eke that profit margin back up. We have a new product called Zippy, so you get the gist of how we name things here, Flippy, Zippy, Schmippy. And it's a really cool employee revenue engine. And so what it does is it incentivizes the employees who are there on the front line to sell more And if they sell more, they earn more. So it says, here's your sales goal for the day. And if you hit it, everybody on that shift gets an extra $1 an hour. If you hit 2x it, you're going to get $2 an hour. Well, that really aligns the incentives between the employee and the owner and general manager, because everybody's making more money, right? And we see the ROI on that be closer to 10 or 15x. So for every dollar you pay us, you're making that in return. And so these are the types of things that we can do to help restaurant operators drive net new profits, to kind of chisel up that net profit margin back up to where it was so that they can survive.